In Ballykissangel, somebody has to own up.
I stay for it anyway.
It could be Quigley.
It wasn't me.
It could be Donald.
Wasn't me. What is the thought uppermost in our minds? Who won the lotto?
Confession time in Ballykissangel next Sunday at 8 on BBC1.
On this week's 999, a race against time as a man is buried alive.
Don't worry.
Within 5 to 10 minutes it has started to set.
And a freak fall leads to a life-threatening decision.
John, are you okay?
I think I might have damaged my neck. He had the potential to kill himself.
999, Friday, 9:30, BBC1. Blue skies, great golf, the final round in the US Masters, live from Augusta on BBC2 now. Cup final day here on BBC1, but who's going to be playing the field? Girl power in 15 minutes. The news now on BBC1 Scotland, with Peter Sissons.
Gerry Adams puts the case for the Northern Ireland peace deal to thousands of Sinn Féin supporters. He tells them it's not all they wanted, but it advances their struggle for a united Ireland. New flood warnings are issued tonight as the Midlands counts the cost of the deluge. And Schumacher wins his joust with McLaren to take the Argentine Grand Prix. Good evening. The Sinn Féin leader, Gerry Adams, has begun the process of selling the Irish peace agreement to his supporters. Explaining the twists and turns of the last few hours of negotiations on Good Friday, he told Republicans that Tony Blair had persuaded the Unionists to concede more than they'd wanted. Mr. Adams said that the outcome laid the basis for a new phase of Sinn Féin's struggle for a united Ireland.
Commemorating the dead of a past Republican struggle, the 1916 Easter Uprising against British rule in Ireland. For Sinn Féin's Gerry Adams, who is attending this rally in County Tyrone, it's now decision time. His party has to decide whether or not to sign up to the deal. So far, he's presented it as the first step towards his party's goal of a united Ireland.
I believe that the impetus which we have generated through 30 years of struggle, which we have generated down through the decades, that this will see us through to make more significant advances towards our goal of a free and independent Ireland.
Some in Sinn Féin will be disheartened that their long-cherished ideal still hasn't been achieved. Others welcome the leadership's step-by-step approach.
I think people are satisfied that we're moving along the right direction. You know, no one has got what they really wanted to achieve, but I think people feel in their heart that there's been a tide of change.
I would be a kind of an optimist, and I would be, looking on the best side of it, and I can't see any alternative.
At another rally in Belfast's Milltown Cemetery, the burial place for many IRA members, a representative of the terrorist organisation read out a statement away from the cameras. He said the IRA would study the agreement in terms of its potential to deliver Irish unity.
The focus now shifts to a meeting of Sinn Féin's executive and then its party conference on Saturday. It's impossible to predict what will happen, but the strategy seems to be a mixture of wait and see, together with the possibility that Sinn Féin will work with the deal. Peter Hunt, BBC News, Belfast.
The Irish Prime Minister Bertie Ahern says he expects the decommissioning of paramilitary weapons to start within months. Under the agreement, the process has to be completed within 2 years, which some unionists say is too long.
Applause at a local football match for the contribution to the peace accord by the Irish Prime Minister Bertie Ahern. He believes the disarming of the IRA will be speeded up once prisoners start being released.
The transfer of prisoners will be stepped up now. We're going to see the release, all of them, within 2 years. I happen to think, if things go right, that's going to be far shorter. So I think all of these things are going to be very important for Sinn Féin.
But Senator George Mitchell, who chaired the tortuous negotiations which ended with last Friday's agreement, is still fearful about a possible return to violence in the 6 weeks before the referendum on May the 22nd. In his first interview since arriving home, it was obvious he remained apprehensive.
There are
people on both sides who want to disrupt this process, who are committed to the way of violence, and I expect they'll step up their activities between now and the date of the referendum and thereafter. But it's been going on a long time, and people recognize it for what it is, so my hope is that it won't destabilize the process.
Tony Blair, on holiday with his family in Spain, is anxious to do all he can to build up the highest possible yes vote in the referendum. He said it would be tragic if this opportunity for a lasting peace was squandered.
That there will be people who don't want to make the changes necessary, who are going to do everything they can to try and stop this agreement, and we've got to have the people of Vision triumph over that.
Mr Blair is being kept informed of developments in Northern Ireland and, if necessary, is ready to talk on the phone to leaders of the political parties. Nicholas Jones, BBC News.
New flood warnings have been issued this evening for areas of East Anglia near the rivers Nene and the Ouse. The Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott has been visiting the Midlands. He said the floods were the worst there for 150 years. 5 people have been killed by the storms and damage is expected to run into millions of pounds. Police say there's serious flooding in parts of Cambridgeshire, and for the second night running, Peterborough is on full flood alert. But water levels are falling in Bedfordshire. Villagers in Kempston are returning to their homes to assess the damage.
Instead of enjoying an Easter Sunday break, Barbara Ironson is attempting to clear up her waterlogged home. She hasn't been here since it was flooded. The scale of the damage is difficult to take in.
It's taken us 11 years to do this, and it's just about finished.
I think there should be somebody here to help us and advise us what to do, where to go. We haven't any immediate family here, so we're just about homeless, I suppose.
The worst now appears to be over here in Bedfordshire, but for families like the Irisons, the damage will take months to repair. In parts of Cambridgeshire, water levels continue to rise. Wansford, the latest community to suffer.
This is a freak, isn't it, really? I don't think it's ever been like this in the village.
Nothing you can do about it, and grin and bear it and carry on.
Some residents are clearly taking it in their stride, but the fear is this water will now surge downstream to Peterborough. For the second night running, the town is on full flood alert. The Deputy Prime Minister visited the clear-up operation in Evesham today, seeing for himself the damage that's been done. Flood levels are receding in most areas of the West Midlands now, towns like Stratford trying to return to normal. Insurers estimate the cost of the damage nationwide will be as high as £500 million. John Prescott promised the government would do what it could to help.
Well, it's a remarkable spirit that you get from British people when they've had a kind of calamity like this, but it's drying up and we've some lessons to learn. But most remarkable of all is the tremendous spirit of the emergency services. Cooperation, confidence, and we have a great deal of faith in them.
But for the thousands affected, this Easter weekend will be one they'll want to forget. Emma Simpson, BBC News.
The Archbishop of Canterbury's Easter sermon has been disrupted by gay rights campaigners. The activist Peter Tatchell was later charged with violent behaviour in a church under an act passed in 1860. Elsewhere, Easter has been celebrated around the globe in traditional style.
Easter morning in Canterbury Cathedral, and the service began according to time-honoured pattern, with not a hint of the upset to come. A few minutes later, the Archbishop climbed up to the pulpit and was just beginning his sermon when he found himself sharing his vantage point with a group of intruders.
Dr. Carey supports discrimination against lesbian and gay people. He opposes lesbian and gay human rights. This is not a Christian teaching.
Ejected by main force, the campaigners were led away. The Archbishop said he'd been saddened by their intervention, which he thought would have won them few friends. The theme of the sermon, which he did then deliver, was the importance of memory. Memories could be bitter, as in Northern Ireland and Rwanda, but memory was vital to the health of any society. And Dr. Carey said people in Britain were forgetting their Christian past. In St. Peter's Square, though, there was nothing to disrupt the Easter celebrations, thronged as usual by tens of thousands of pilgrims intent on hearing the Pope celebrate Mass. Resplendent in the fitful spring sunshine, the serried ranks of cardinals and bishops gathered round the steps of the basilica. After Mass came the Easter message, Urbi et Orbi, to the city and to the world. John Paul wished the world a happy Easter in 58 languages.
A blessed Easter in the joy of Jesus Christ, the risen Lord and Saviour of the world.
He warned the world that ethnic rivalry was sowing the seeds of death for a sad tomorrow. And he prayed for peace in Jerusalem, threatened by what he called dangerous political decisions. Though in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, traditionally the site of Christ's death and resurrection, the Easter worshippers seemed oblivious to thoughts of conflict. Alex Kirby, BBC News.
The biggest teachers' union, the NUT, has attacked one of the government's key education policies. At the union's annual conference in Blackpool, delegates criticised Labour's plans to create education action zones in areas where schools are said to be performing poorly. Sport, and Rangers have beaten their old firm rival Celtic at Ibrox to take over at the top of the Scottish Premier League. The two teams are level on points, but after today's 2-0 victory, Rangers have a better goal difference.
This was a game Rangers desperately needed to win if they were to realise their ambition of winning 10 championships in a row. After a lacklustre start, the match sprang to life on 24 minutes, courtesy of a spectacular strike from Jonas Törn. The Swedish midfielder scoring his 4th goal in 5 games. Celtic did enjoy plenty of possession and should have equalised 6 minutes later, but Paul Lambert squandered the chance. In the second half, it was Celtic who once again looked the more positive. But this effort from Alan Stubbs lacked the direction to beat Andy Gorham. Rangers showed why they're the league's leading scorers with a crucial second goal in the 66th minute. York Alberts ending a scintillating run with a perfect finish. In the dying seconds, it would have been 3-0 if Annoni hadn't produced a goal-line clearance. But the Rangers manager, Walter Smith, will be more than happy with a return to the top of the table. Paul Newman, BBC News.
The leaders have just begun their final round in the US Masters at Augusta. Amongst those to start well has been Jack Nicklaus, the 58-year-old who became the oldest ever winner of the event 12 years ago, birdied 2 of the first 3 holes and is making a challenge for the lead. Michael Schumacher has won the Argentine Grand Prix in Buenos Aires. Scotland's David Coulthard, who started the race in pole position, finished only 6th after he collided with Schumacher on the 5th lap.
The two McLarens so dominant this season have been split on the grid by Michael Schumacher, but when Häkkinen overtook the German's Ferrari at the start, a familiar story seemed to be unfolding. That wasn't to be the case. By the 5th lap, Schumacher was in the lead. After repassing Häkkinen, he caught David Coulthard, took the inside line on the corner and sent the McLaren spinning back into 6th place. Schumacher's chances of winning now depended on his team. He was taking 2 stops, Häkkinen only 1. But Ferrari's quick refuelling work meant that Schumacher had built up a large enough lead to emerge from his 2nd stop just ahead of the championship leader. The German's 28th Grand Prix victory was now almost complete, although his route to the rostrum was hardly conventional. Despite the unplanned detour, though, Schumacher still finished nearly 23 seconds ahead of Häkkinen. Ferrari have shown McLaren in Argentina that the destiny of this season's championship is far from a foregone conclusion. James Pearce, BBC News.
And the main news tonight, the Sinn Féin President Gerry Adams has said that the Northern Ireland peace agreement marked a new phase in the party's struggle for a united Ireland. That's all from the BBC Newsroom tonight. Good night.
Good evening to you. Sleet and snow is going to be the main problem for the British Isles over the next 24 hours. Already on our radar picture here we can see that almost everywhere has seen showers through the early evening period. We're keeping a close eye on the cloud that's developing across the North Sea there, because that is an area of low pressure getting closer and closer and now just getting into those northeastern coasts, and it will bring some more persistent sleet and snow, especially for the hills. It slowly pushes its way southwards during the nighttime period, bringing in some sleet into Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, perhaps into the eastern side of the Midlands, and then down in towards East Anglia as we move into the early hours of tomorrow morning. Lowest temperatures tonight down to -4 with the clearing skies for many other parts of Britain. But the greatest threat of disruption due to that snow, around 60%, really from Yorkshire through Lincolnshire into East Anglia, perhaps even down across the downs of southern parts of England. There could be a light dusting of sleet or snow. Well, there's the area of low pressure, close enough to give some quite strong winds as well, particularly down through that North Sea coast. Here we're going to see those gusts at 35, 40 miles an hour at times. It will brighten up through the afternoon, but almost everywhere we'll see showers, many of which will fall as sleet and snow. And these temperatures, well, 7 or 8, really being tempered by a strong northwesterly wind, feeling more like -5 on the east coast.
Once you are his wife, you'll be as much his property as his ships and his stock.
Shake. To Mrs. Cole! Mrs. Cole!
Thanks to the trade, I shall rise.
In an age of great wealth and great cruelty,
Let's have one of the slave girls brought up here.
the most unexpected desire
Will you not dance with me?
can be the most dangerous. Warren Clark,
My God, I'll flail the skin from his back myself.
Anna Massey,
Do you think he just married you as an adornment?
and Richard Bryars star in A Respectable Trade, next Sunday at 9:20 on BBC1.
Hello, today's Old Firm derby at Ibrox had the makings of one of the most important domestic fixtures in Scottish football history. Celtic knew that a victory might effectively deny Rangers a record-breaking 10th title in a row.
Here's Paul Lambert. So close, Lambert.
It's a game which could have the winning or the losing of the Premier Division's ultimate prize for both sides of the Old Firm. I hope you'll share it with us tonight, 10:20, BBC Scotland on 1.
And on the town with basketball's crazy man, Ruby Wax meets Dennis Rodman. Shocking but true. BBC1 at 9:50. Who'd have thought it, but they're through to the final. Hard tackles, strong language now on BBC1 Scotland, in the last part of Playing the Field.